Arizona is the only state in the entire United States that contains all four of North America's major deserts. The Mojave Desert is home to the legendary Joshua trees, found absolutely nowhere else on Earth. And here's a shocker. The Chihuahuan Desert stretches across a mind-blowing 250,000 square miles, making it the largest desert in North America. When you think of America's deserts, you're probably picturing nothing but endless sand and lonely cacti. But that image couldn't be further from the truth. Introduction. Get ready, because today you'll discover 35 incredible facts about America's deserts that will prove they're not wastelands at all. They're diverse ecosystems teeming with unique life and geology. From cacti that weigh more than a car to the hottest place on Earth. From ancient plants older than the pyramids to deadly flash floods and bone-dry landscapes, these deserts are full of surprises that'll change everything you thought you knew about these extreme environments. Facts 35 to 31. Let's start with the big picture. North America has four major deserts, and they're wildly different from each other. First up, the Chihuahuan Desert, the heavyweight champion at 250,000 square miles, covering most of far west Texas, southern New Mexico, southeastern Arizona, and dropping deep into Mexico's central highlands. To put that in perspective, the Chihuahuan Desert is larger than the entire state of California. Next, the Sonoran Desert spans about 120,000 square miles across southern Arizona, southeastern California, and northwest Mexico. Then there's the Great Basin Desert, the cold desert of the bunch, covering roughly 190,000 square miles across most of Nevada and chunks of Utah, Oregon, Idaho, and California. Finally, the Mojave Desert is the smallest but hottest of them all, at around 25,000 to 31,000 square miles, sitting in southeastern California, southern Nevada, and tiny strips of Arizona and Utah. Here's what makes Arizona absolutely unique. It's the only state in the country where you can find portions of all four of these deserts. You could literally drive across Arizona and experience four completely different desert ecosystems in a single day. And what exactly makes a desert a desert? It's all about the water, or lack of it. By definition, deserts receive less than 10 inches of precipitation annually. Some parts receive as little as 2 inches per year. That extreme dryness is what shapes everything about these landscapes, from the plants that grow there to the animals that call them home. Facts 30 to 26. Now let's dive deeper into the Chihuahuan Desert. This massive landscape spans southern New Mexico, far west Texas, southeastern Arizona, and extends way down into Mexico, covering portions of 6 Mexican states, including Chihuahua, which gives the desert its name. But here's something most people don't know. The Chihuahuan is the highest desert in North America, with most of it sitting above 3,500 feet in elevation. Some areas rise to over 6,000 feet. It's squeezed between two massive mountain ranges, the Sierra Madre Occidental on the west and the Sierra Madre Oriental on the east. The mighty Rio Grande cuts right through this desert, providing crucial water to this otherwise arid ecosystem. The wildlife here is perfectly adapted to these harsh conditions. The greater roadrunner, that bird you know from cartoons, actually lives here and can sprint up to 20 miles per hour chasing down lizards, snakes, and insects. They're surprisingly fierce predators. Black-tailed jackrabbits have evolved enormous ears, not just for hearing, but as radiators to dump excess heat in the scorching sun. Their ears are so effective that blood leaving the ear is significantly cooler than blood entering it. These rabbits can lose up to 20% of their body heat through their ears alone. This desert might look barren, but it's teeming with life that's found genius ways to survive. Rattlesnakes, tarantulas, and coyotes all thrive in this seemingly inhospitable landscape. Facts 25 to 21. The Sonoran Desert is where things get really interesting. Covering southern Arizona, southeastern California, and northwest Mexico, this desert receives something no other North American desert gets: 2 rainy seasons. Winter storms roll in from the Pacific Ocean between December and January, bringing gentle rains. Then summer monsoons blast in from the Gulf of California from July through September, unleashing violent thunderstorms that can drop an inch of rain in mere minutes. This double dose of moisture makes the Sonoran the most biodiverse desert in North America. It hosts more species of plants and animals than any other desert on the continent. And the star of the show? The iconic saguaro cactus, which grows only in the Sonoran Desert and absolutely nowhere else on Earth. These giants can reach 40 to 60 feet tall. That's as tall as a 4-story building. They live for 150 to 200 years, and when fully hydrated with water, a mature saguaro can weigh up to 6 tons. That's 12,000 pounds, heavier than most pickup trucks. A single saguaro can hold up to 200 gallons of water after a good rain. But here's the kicker. Saguaros don't even grow their first arm until they're 75 to 100 years old. Some never grow arms at all. The pure white waxy flowers of the saguaro were designated as Arizona's state flower in 1931. These stunning blossoms open at night and close within 24 hours, creating a spectacular display each May. The flowers bloom at the very top of the cactus, and they're pollinated by bats, bees, and white-winged doves. Facts 20 to 16. The Mojave Desert earns its reputation as the hottest North American desert because it contains Death Valley, literally the hottest place on Earth. On July 10, 1913, Death Valley recorded an air temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit, the highest atmospheric temperature ever reliably recorded on Earth's surface. And get this, in July 2024, Death Valley had the hottest month ever recorded, with a mean daily average temperature of 108.5 degrees. Ground temperatures have hit 201 degrees, hot enough to cook an egg on a rock. If you walked barefoot on that sand, you'd get third-degree burns in seconds. The Mojave sits as a transition zone between the Sonoran and Great Basin deserts, combining characteristics of both. And it has its own iconic plant, the Joshua tree, the largest species of yucca, found only in the Mojave. Mormon pioneers crossing the desert in the mid-1800s thought these bizarre trees, with their twisted branches reaching skyward, looked like the prophet Joshua raising his arms to heaven. And the name stuck. Joshua trees can grow up to 40 feet tall and live for 150 years. They have one of nature's most perfect relationships. They're pollinated exclusively by the yucca moth in a symbiotic partnership that's been going on for millions of years. The moth collects pollen using specialized tentacle-like organs near its mouth, pollinates the flowers, and then lays eggs inside. When the larvae hatch, they eat some of the seeds, their only meal for their entire life. Neither species can survive without the other. The Mojave receives less than 5 inches of rain annually, making it incredibly dry. Temperature swings here are extreme. Days can hit 120 degrees, then plummet below freezing at night. Your body has to deal with a temperature difference of potentially 100 degrees in a single day. That kind of temperature swing is brutal on both humans and equipment. Before we continue exploring these incredible desert landscapes, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button to keep discovering America's most extreme environments. Facts 15 to 11. The Great Basin Desert is the oddball of American deserts. It's the only cold desert in North America. Covering most of Nevada, western Utah, and parts of Oregon, Idaho, and California. This 190,000 square mile expanse gets snow in winter, something unheard of in hot deserts. Winter temperatures can drop well below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a rain shadow desert, blocked by the Sierra Nevada mountains to the west and the Wasatch Range to the east. Storms coming from the Pacific dump their moisture on the Sierra Nevada, leaving nothing for the land beyond. The Sierra Nevada literally means snowy range in Spanish, and those mountains wring every drop of moisture from passing clouds. Unlike the cacti-studded Sonoran or Mojave, the Great Basin's dominant plant is sagebrush. No towering cacti here. The landscape is covered in rolling hills of gray-green sagebrush that stretches to the horizon. The entire region exhibits what geologists call basin and range topography. Picture this: more than 90 separate basins created by ancient geological forces that stretched the Earth's crust, forming parallel north-south mountain ranges separated by flat valleys. These basins are like geological bathtubs. Water flows in but has no outlet to the ocean, so it either evaporates or sinks into the ground. The Great Basin is a hydrologically closed region where all water stays trapped. The Great Salt Lake in Utah is a perfect example. It's the remnant of ancient Lake Bonneville, which once covered much of western Utah. Facts 10 to 6. Now for some of the most spectacular desert features in America. White Sands in New Mexico is the largest gypsum dune field in the entire world, covering 275 square miles. That's bigger than New York City. These aren't your typical tan sand dunes. They're pure white, and some dunes tower up to 60 feet tall. How did this happen? Gypsum crystals dissolved from surrounding mountains and were carried into the Tularosa Basin. As water evaporated in this internally drained valley, it left behind gypsum deposits. Wind then broke up these crystals and sculpted them into massive white dunes that look like snow in the desert. On hot summer days, these white sands stay surprisingly cool underfoot because gypsum doesn't absorb heat like regular sand. Animals living here have actually evolved white coloration to match their environment. The Apache pocket mouse, bleached Urlis lizard, and several species of insects have all developed white or pale coloring for camouflage. The Painted Desert in Arizona is a different kind of spectacle. Colorful badlands that look like an artist's palette spread across 93,500 acres. The vibrant bands of red, purple, blue, and white come from iron and manganese oxides in the rock layers. When there's oxygen in the ground, iron oxidizes into those brilliant reds and oranges. When the water table is high and there's less oxygen, those same deposits turn blue or green. At Petrified Forest National Park, you can see ancient trees that turned to stone over 225 million years ago. Minerals from volcanic ash infiltrated the wood, forming crystals that replaced individual cell walls, preserving incredible detail. Iron and other minerals painted these petrified logs in rainbows of color: reds, yellows, purples, and blues. Remember to subscribe to keep discovering the hidden wonders of desert geography and geology. Let's talk about how these deserts formed in the first place. It's all about the rain shadow effect. When moist air from the Pacific Ocean hits the Sierra Nevada mountains, it's forced upward. As it rises, it cools and releases moisture as precipitation on the western side. The western slopes of the Sierra Nevada can receive over 60 inches of rain annually. But by the time the air crosses the peaks and descends the eastern side, it's bone dry, creating the Great Basin and Mojave Deserts. The Rocky Mountains block moisture from the east, intensifying the effect. Believe it or not, about 30% of the continental United States is classified as arid or semi-arid. That's nearly a third of the entire country. Desert plants and animals have evolved incredible adaptations to survive. Cacti store water in thick stems, have waxy coatings to prevent evaporation, and use tiny spines instead of leaves to reduce water loss. The spines also provide shade and protect the plant from animals. Many desert animals are nocturnal, hiding during the scorching day and emerging at night when it's cooler. Kangaroo rats never drink water. They get all the moisture they need from the seeds they eat. But here's something that might shock you. Flash floods are actually the primary danger in deserts, not dehydration. When intense rain falls on hard, sun-baked soil, the ground can't absorb it fast enough. Water rushes through dry washes at terrifying speed, sometimes creating floods from storms happening miles away. In June 2024, Zion National Park experienced one of its worst floods in 30 years, when over an inch of rain fell in minutes. Walls of water can reach 30 feet high and travel at 25 miles per hour. Temperature extremes in the Mojave are mind-blowing. Summer days hit 120 degrees, but winter nights can drop to 20 degrees. That's a 100-degree temperature range. Now here's something incredible you've probably never heard of: biocrusts, or biological soil crusts. These living soils are composed of bacteria, fungi, lichens, and cyanobacteria that form a thin layer on the desert surface. They perform critical functions like preventing erosion, fixing nitrogen, and fertilizing soils. Step on them, and they take decades to recover. They look like dark, bumpy soil, but they're actually alive and essential to desert health. The Sonoran Desert has the highest biodiversity per acre of any desert on Earth. A single square yard can contain 20 species of wildflowers. Over 2,000 plant species call the Sonoran home. Saguaro cacti provide homes for Gila woodpeckers, which excavate nest holes in the living cactus. The cactus forms a hard, callus-like boot around the cavity to seal it off. Once the woodpeckers raise their young and move on, those cavities become valuable real estate for elf owls, pygmy owls, flycatchers, and other species. The saguaro becomes a desert apartment building. A single mature saguaro can have a dozen or more nest holes. And speaking of ancient organisms, meet the creosote bush, specifically one called king clone in the Mojave Desert, estimated to be around 11,700 years old. That makes it one of the oldest living organisms on Earth, dating back to the end of the last ice age. These plants grow in rings, constantly sending up new shoots from the same root system, creating clonal colonies that can survive for millennia. King clone is about 67 feet in diameter. Summer monsoons are absolutely critical for the Sonoran Desert. When those violent thunderstorms roll in, they deliver life-giving water that triggers an explosion of growth. And here's a sobering fact about desert survival. Most deaths aren't from wildlife attacks. They're from dehydration, exposure to extreme temperatures, and flash floods. More people actually drown in deserts than die from dehydration. Heat stroke is a leading cause of desert deaths, occurring when people lose more than 20% of their total body water. Without water, a person can die in the desert in as little as 3 hours during summer. Organ pipe cactus. National Monument in southern Arizona is the only place in the United States where you can see organ pipe cacti growing wild in abundance. This UNESCO Biosphere Reserve protects over 500 plant species in the Sonoran Desert. The organ pipe cactus looks like a giant pipe organ with multiple stems rising from the base, some reaching 20 feet tall. Head to California and you'll find Anza Borrego Desert State Park, the largest state park in California at 650,000 acres, roughly 1,000 square miles. With 500 miles of dirt roads and 110 miles of hiking trails, it's a desert wonderland. The park contains badlands, palm groves, and slot canyons. Desert wildflower superblooms are rare events that transform the landscape into carpets of color. These spectacular blooms occur only when heavy winter rains fall after a period of drought, killing invasive grasses and allowing wildflower seeds to absorb water and sprout. The timing has to be perfect. Rain at the right time, followed by cool temperatures. When it happens, millions of wildflowers blanket the desert in yellows, purples, whites, and reds. The 2019 superbloom in California attracted hundreds of thousands of visitors. And desert varnish, that dark, glossy coating you see on desert rocks, is created by bacteria and fungi that concentrate manganese and iron from the atmosphere, forming a protective layer over thousands of years. It's like a natural time capsule that can even preserve ancient microbes. Some desert varnish is over 10,000 years old. Conclusion: America's deserts aren't empty wastelands. They're complex ecosystems adapted to extremes that would kill most other life forms. From Death Valley's record-breaking heat to the Great Basin's freezing winters, from saguaros that live 200 years to creosote bushes that have survived 11,000 years, from flash floods that kill more people than dehydration to biocrusts that hold the soil together. These deserts are packed with surprises. Which desert fact surprised you the most? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep exploring the incredible natural wonders that most people never knew existed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.